Hello and welcome to Nightmare Lullabies. As you settle in for the night, prepare to be immersed in a world of eerie whispers and unsettling tales, designed to both chill and soothe. Now close your eyes, relax, and let the darkness carry you away. And if these nightly tales captivate you, feel free to join our community for more whispered secrets.
Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka sat in his modest São Paulo apartment, the humid Brazilian air seeping through the cracked window, the city's skyline a jagged silhouette against the March 16, 2025 sunset. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the weight of his years. Decades of autopsies in Tokyo, dissecting the dead to uncover truths, from murder victims to war casualties. Now reduced to consulting on minor cases for local clinics, his scalpel replaced by a quiet life of reflection. The room was sparse, a single photo of his late wife, Mariko, on the mantel, her smile a reminder of the family he'd lost to time, her death 5 years ago from a rare neurological disease, still a mystery he couldn't solve. His phone buzzed, an unexpected call from Vancouver, Canada, snapping him from his reverie, the sound jarring against the distant hum of São Paulo's traffic. The voice on the line belonged to Dr. Emily Harper, a young epidemiologist at the University of British Columbia, her tone urgent, her words clipped with excitement. Dr. Tanaka, I found your name in old files. A 1975 outbreak in Vancouver, linked to a Japanese experiment you investigated in 1990. It's happening again in Brazil. Can you help? Hiroshi's pulse quickened, his hands trembling as he gripped the phone. The 1975 Vancouver outbreak, a cluster of 12 deaths from a mysterious neurological disease, had haunted him early in his career, a case he'd pursued with fervor, only to hit a wall of classified documents and silenced witnesses. He'd traced it to a 1945 Tokyo experiment by Unit 731, Japan's wartime biological research unit, known for its gruesome human trials, but the trail went cold, buried by post-war agreements. Send me the details, he said, his Japanese accent softened by decades abroad, his voice steady despite the flood of memories. Emily emailed a file within minutes. Autopsy reports from 1975, detailing paralysis and brain lesions. A 2024 São Paulo hospital report of similar cases with 15 patients in critical condition. And a 1945 Unit 731 memo. Project Silent Cure. Neurotoxin trials, subjects terminated, samples preserved for further study. The memo included a signature, Dr. Takashi Yamada, a name Hiroshi recognized from his 1990 investigation, a lead scientist who vanished after the war. Hiroshi recorded a memo on his tablet, his voice low and deliberate. March 16, 2025, 6:43 p.m. Emily Harper's found a connection. Vancouver 1975, Tokyo 1945, now São Paulo. Unit 731's legacy is back, and it's killing again. He spent hours analyzing the file, cross-referencing symptoms, sudden paralysis, hemorrhagic lesions. With his old notes, the parallels undeniable, his mind racing to the ethical breaches of his past cases. He booked a flight to Tokyo, a 22-hour journey with a layover in Los Angeles, his decision fueled by a need to confront the past that had shaped his career. The airport bustle, the long hours in transit, gave him time to reflect. His early days in Tokyo, the 1990 investigation into Unit 731's aftermath, the pressure from superiors to drop it, the whispers of samples smuggled overseas. Landing on March 18, Tokyo's spring chill hit him. The city's neon lights a stark contrast to São Paulo's chaotic sprawl. The cherry blossoms in Ueno Park just beginning to bloom, their pink petals a fleeting beauty against the gray sky. He checked into a small hotel near the park, its tatami floors and sliding doors a nostalgic echo of his youth. The silence a stark contrast to the threat he now faced. Hiroshi contacted Dr. Kenji Sato, a retired historian in his 70s with a sharp mind and a shared history of uncovering Unit 731's secrets. A colleague who'd stood by him in 1990 when others turned away. Kenji met him at a ramen shop in Asakusa, the steam rising from their bowls mingling with the chatter of locals, the scent of soy and pork a comforting anchor. Kenji's grizzled face softened as he spoke, his voice grave. Unit 731 tested neurotoxins. Project Silent Cure aimed to control minds, paralyze enemies without killing outright. They used Chinese and Korean prisoners, killed hundreds, preserved samples in a Tokyo lab, sealed after the war under U.S. pressure. I heard rumors. Some samples were smuggled to Canada by Dr. Alan Fraser, a Canadian scientist, then to Brazil decades later. Yamada was the mastermind, but he disappeared. Hiroshi recorded the account, his empathy deepening as he pictured the victims, their stories lost to history. He spent the next morning at the National Diet Library, a grand building with endless stacks, requesting access to classified Unit 731 files, his old credentials from the Tokyo Medical Examiner's office barely enough to gain entry after a tense negotiation with the archivist. Yuko Nakamura, a stern woman in her 50s with piercing eyes, handed him a sealed box, her tone cautious. "This hasn't been opened since 1990, your signature's on the release form. Be careful, Dr. Tanaka." Inside were autopsy reports, 1945 subjects with brain lesions, a neurotoxin labeled SC45, and a memo detailing its effects. Paralysis within hours, lesions in 24 hours, death in 48 unless reversed. A shipping log noted. Samples sent to Vancouver, 1950, Dr. Alan Fraser, for clinical trials. Hiroshi recorded the find, his mind racing. March 18, 2025, 2:15 p.m. SC45. The neurotoxin, sent to Canada, likely caused the 1975 outbreak. But why Brazil now? Yamada's trail ends here. He traveled to the site of Unit 731's former Tokyo lab, now a memorial park in Shinjuku, the ground marked with plaques for the estimated 3,000 victims, the air heavy with the weight of history. The park was quiet, families paying respects, the cherry blossoms framing the somber scene. Aiko Mori, a local guide in her 40s with a quiet demeanor and a deep connection to the site. Her grandfather had survived Unit 731's horrors, joined him, her voice soft. "My grandfather was a prisoner. He said they tested silent death, a toxin to control, not kill outright. He escaped when the lab burned in 1945, but he never recovered, died young from seizures. Some scientists, like Yamada, fled to Canada after the war, took their research. I've heard whispers, Brazil's the new lab." Hiroshi recorded her account, his empathy deepening as he imagined Aiko's grandfather, a survivor burdened by trauma, his story a mirror to his own losses. They walked the park for hours, Aiko sharing tales of survivors, men and women experimented on with gases, toxins, and surgeries, their bodies discarded, their families left in silence. Hiroshi photographed the plaques, each name a testament to Unit 731's cruelty, uploading a memo to his cloud drive. The lab's gone, but its shadow stretches to Vancouver, São Paulo, a biotech conspiracy, reviving Unit 731's horrors. Aiko's grandfather's story drives me. This is personal. He reflected on Mariko's death, the neurological symptoms eerily similar to SC45's effects, a suspicion gnawing at him. Could her illness be tied to this resurrected past? That evening, Hiroshi met Kenji and Naomi Ishida, a biochemist in her 50s with a sharp wit and a background in toxin analysis, at a tea house in Shibuya. The air thick with matcha and tension, the city's lights a vibrant backdrop. Naomi analyzed the SC45 formula from the files, her laptop glowing with chemical diagrams, her voice precise. It's a neurotoxin, targets the brainstem, causes paralysis within hours, hemorrhagic lesions within 24, death in 48. Unless an antidote is administered. In 1975, it killed 12 in Vancouver, misdiagnosed as a viral encephalitis outbreak. Someone synthesizing it again in Brazil. São Paulo's 2024 cases matched the symptoms, 15 patients, all critical. The antidote's formula was lost, but the toxin's active. Hiroshi recorded the analysis, his voice tense. SC45 is active, a modern lab, using Unit 731's research, killing again. Mariko's death, could it be linked? Naomi suggested a lead, Dr. Alan Fraser, the Canadian scientist who received the samples in 1950, might have left records in Vancouver, a starting point to trace the toxin's journey. Hiroshi spent hours planning his next move, poring over Emily's file, cross-checking with Naomi's data, the parallels to Mariko's illness fueling his resolve. As he packed in his hotel room, the cities hum a distant lullaby, a shadow moved outside his door. He grabbed his recorder, its light on, and peered through the peephole, a man tall in a gray coat, his face obscured by a hood, slipping a note under the door. Hiroshi retrieved it, the paper crisp, the message typed. Leave the cure or join the silent. São Paulo waits. His recorder captured his gasp. March 19, 2025, 11:47 p.m. They know I'm here, threatening me like Unit 731's victims. This conspiracy's alive, and it's personal. He called Kenji, his voice steady despite the fear, and planned to confront the mystery in Vancouver. The silent cure's shadow a deadly echo across time, his wife's memory a silent motivator. Hiroshi Tanaka stepped off the plane at Vancouver International Airport, the crisp March 20th, 2025, era shock after Tokyo's chill. The city's mountains a majestic backdrop to the bustling terminal. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the ache in his joints, his mind heavy with the threatening note from Tokyo. Leave the cure, or join the silent. São Paulo waits. And the weight of his mission to trace Dr. Alan Fraser's role in the 1975 outbreak. His recorder captured his steady voice. March 20th, 2025, 10:15 a.m. I'm in Vancouver. The 1975 outbreak, 12 deaths from SC-45, linked to Unit 731. Fraser's the key, and this conspiracy's closing in. The note's implication, that someone knew his every move, gnawed at him, a shadow from his past as a pathologist who'd unearthed uncomfortable truths. He checked into a hotel near Stanley Park, its cedar-lined streets a serene contrast to the urgency driving him, and contacted Dr. Emily Harper, the epidemiologist who'd sparked this journey. Emily met him at her university office, a cluttered space with maps and charts, her youthful face framed by glasses, her voice eager. I've pulled Fraser's records. He was a neurologist at Vancouver General Hospital in 1975, ran a secret trial during the outbreak. 12 patients died, paralysis, lesions blamed on a virus. But I found a lab log, SC-45 samples, shipped from Tokyo in 1950, tested on homeless people. Your 1990 report flagged it, but it was buried. Hiroshi recorded the log, his mind racing. Fraser used SC-45, Unit 731's toxin, on the vulnerable, just like the war crimes. This was no accident. They visited Vancouver General Hospital's archives, a sterile room with flickering fluorescent lights, where Emily accessed declassified files, her fingers trembling as she handed Hiroshi a 1975 report. Trial SC-45, Phase 2, neurotoxin administered, 12 fatalities, antidote ineffective, samples preserved for Brazil transfer in 1980. A photo showed Fraser, a gaunt man in his 50s, beside a lab table, his expression cold, the subjects unnamed. Hiroshi recorded the report, his voice grim. Fraser killed 12, SC-45's trail leads to Brazil, 1980. Mariko's symptoms match, this hits too close. He spent hours analyzing the files, cross-referencing lesion patterns with his wife's autopsy. The similarities a painful revelation, fueling his resolve. Hiroshi met a local historian, Dr. Paul Nguyen, a Vietnamese Canadian in his 60s with a meticulous approach, at a coffee shop near Granville Island, the aroma of roasted beans mingling with their conversation. Paul shared a lead. Fraser worked with a Japanese defector, Dr. Hiroshi Yamada, Unit 731's lead on SC-45. After the war, Yamada fled to Canada, collaborated with Fraser, then vanished in 1980, likely to Brazil. I found a letter Fraser wrote to a São Paulo contact, Biosynth Corporation, about continuing the cure. Hiroshi recorded the letter, his pulse quickening. Yamada and Fraser, Biosynth in São Paulo, the modern link. This conspiracy's been planned for decades. They drove to the site of the 1975 outbreak, an abandoned warehouse near False Creek, its walls graffitied, the air thick with the scent of damp wood. A security guard, Marcus Jones, a burly man in his 50s with a gruff voice, allowed them access, sharing a story. Old-timers said weird stuff happened here, people collapsing, doctors in white coats, then silence. Fraser's name came up, hushed up fast. Hiroshi recorded the account, his empathy growing as he pictured the victims, their deaths erased from history. He photographed the warehouse, uploading a memo. March 20th, 2025, 3:47 p.m. This was the trial site, SC-45's first Canadian victims, a mirror to Unit 731's horrors. That night, Hiroshi reviewed Fraser's files at the hotel, the silence broken by a crash from the hallway. He grabbed his recorder, its light on, and peered through the peephole. A man tall in a gray coat, his face obscured, prying at his door with a crowbar. Hiroshi barricaded the door with a chair, his heart pounding, but the man broke through, his eyes cold as he lunged with a syringe. Hiroshi dodged, grabbing a lamp, smashing it against the intruder's arm, the glass shattering as the man dropped the syringe, a note falling. "The cure burns with you." The man fled, but a spark from the lamp ignited the curtains, flames spreading fast, smoke filling the room. Hiroshi recorded his escape, coughing. March 20th, 2025, 11:59 p.m. Attacked. Set the hotel on fire. I've got the note, but I'm running. He grabbed his bag, the files inside, and fled down the fire escape. The hotel ablaze behind him, Vancouver's night lit by the inferno. The silent cures shadow a deadly flame across continents. Hiroshi Tanaka stumbled down the fire escape of his Vancouver hotel, the flames licking the night sky. The March 20th, 2025, air thick with smoke as he clutched his bag. The files on Dr. Alan Fraser and the 1975 SC-45 outbreak safe inside. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the burn in his lungs, his legs trembling from the narrow escape. The note. "The cure burns with you." A chilling reminder of the threat pursuing him. His recorder captured his ragged breaths. March 20th, 2025, 12:03 a.m. The hotel's ablaze. They tried to kill me. Fraser's files are secure, but this conspiracy's relentless. The attack, mirroring the silence imposed on Unit 731's victims, fueled his resolve to trace the neurotoxin's journey from Tokyo 1945 to Vancouver 1975, now resurfacing in São Paulo, Brazil, with 15 critical cases in 2024. He contacted Dr. Emily Harper, the epidemiologist who'd drawn him into this, her voice tense over a secure line. "Hiroshi, you're alive, thank God. The fire's on the news, arson suspected. You need to get to São Paulo, where Biosynth Corporation's linked to the outbreak. I've booked your flight, leaves in 6 hours." Hiroshi recorded her update. "Emily's got me a flight, São Paulo, Biosynth, the next stop. This is personal, Mariko's death, the symptoms, it's SC-45. He spent the pre-dawn hours at Vancouver General Hospital, reviewing Fraser's 1980 transfer log with Emily, the document detailing SC-45 samples sent to Biosynth, a Brazilian biotech firm, for further research. The trail ending with Dr. Hiroshi Yamada's signature, the Unit 731 mastermind. Hiroshi boarded the flight, a 16-hour journey with a layover in Toronto, his mind replaying the hotel attack, the gray-coated man's cold eyes, the syringe's intent to silence. Landing in São Paulo on March 21st, the city's humid heat enveloped him. The urban sprawl a chaotic blend of skyscrapers and favelas, the air tinged with exhaust. He checked into a hotel in Jardins, its modern decor a stark contrast to the danger he faced, and contacted Dr. Sofia Almeida, a local neurologist in her 50s with a reputation for challenging corporate medicine, recommended by Emily. Sofia met him at a cafe near Avenida Paulista, her dark hair pulled back, her voice low. "I've seen the cases, 15 patients, paralysis, lesions, same as Vancouver 1975. Biosynth is involved, a firm in Moima, but they deny it. I lost a cousin to this last year. Undiagnosed, just like your wife's symptoms." Hiroshi recorded her account, his empathy deepening. Sophia's cousin Mariko, SC-45's victims erased by silence. Biosynth is the key. They visited Hospital Sirio Libanes, a sleek facility where the 2024 outbreak began, its corridors buzzing with staff, the air sterile but tense. Sophia introduced Dr. Rafael Costa, a young pathologist with a nervous demeanor, who shared autopsy slides, brainstem lesions, hemorrhagic patterns identical to SC-45. Rafael whispered, "Biosynth funded our research, then pulled out when cases spiked. I found a memo. Project Silent Cure, Phase 3, São Paulo Trials 2025 deployment. They're testing it again." Hiroshi recorded the slides, his voice tense. Phase 3, Biosynth is reviving SC-45, using patients as guinea pigs, just like Unit 731. They drove to Biosynth's headquarters in Moima, a glass tower with a sterile lobby, its logo a subtle helix, the air humming with corporate efficiency. Hiroshi posed as a consultant, his credentials from Tokyo opening doors, while Sophia monitored from a cafe across the street. Inside, he accessed a public terminal, downloading a 2024 report, SC-45 synthesis, a lab in the Amazon rainforest, 200 kilometers north, and a 2025 schedule. Silent Cure deployment, São Paulo hub, global rollout April 1st. Hiroshi recorded the report, his pulse quickening. Biosynthesis lab in the Amazon, SC-45 source, a new outbreak planned. This mirrors Fraser's trials, Yamada's cruelty. That afternoon, they met a whistleblower, João Silva, a former biosynth technician in his 30s with haunted eyes, at a park near Ibirapura. The lakes shimmer, a stark contrast to his fear. João spoke in a rush. I worked on SC-45, synthesized from Unit 731 samples, enhanced for mind control, paralysis as a side effect. They tested on the poor, cover it as disease. Dr. Carlos Mendez, the CEO, runs it, obsessed with Yamada's vision. I quit when a batch killed 10 in a slum last month. Hiroshi recorded his confession, his mind on Mariko. Joao's proof, biosynthesis killing, Mendez is the modern Yamada. This is war on the vulnerable. Joao handed over a USB with lab coordinates, warning. They'll hunt me, I'm leaving tonight. Hiroshi and Sophia planned a stakeout at Biosynthesis Tower, using Joao's intel to map entry points, contacting Detective Ana Pereira, a tough woman in her 40s with a network of informants for backup. At dusk, they approached, the tower's lights a beacon, the air thick with anticipation. Hiroshi recorded the setup. March 21st, 2025, 6:47 p.m. Biosynth Tower. Joao's coordinates guide us, but they'll be watching. They scaled a service entrance, Ana covering them, and slipped inside, finding a security room. Monitors showing an Amazon lab, workers in hazmat suits, a 2025 deployment plan for São Paulo's water supply. As Hiroshi photographed the screens, guards burst in, their shouts echoing, batons raised. Sophia tackled one, Hiroshi disarming another, but a third struck, the blow glancing off his shoulder, his recorder capturing his grunt. They've got us, fighting back. They fled, a chase through the tower's corridors, glass shattering, alarms blaring as they dodged pursuit. Ana created a diversion, crashing a gate, allowing Hiroshi and Sophia to escape in her car, the guard's SUV close behind, its headlights glaring. Hiroshi recorded the escape. They're chasing, biosynthesis security, armed, relentless. Sophia wove through São Paulo's streets, the downtown a blur, the SUV gaining as Hiroshi navigated via GPS, his shoulder throbbing but functional. They lost their pursuers near Vila Madalena, doubling back to a safe house, their breaths ragged. Hiroshi uploaded Joao's USB to a secure server, his voice tense. We've got the lab coordinates, SC-45s in the Amazon, but they nearly caught us. Joao texted, confirming his safe exit, but as Hiroshi stepped into the safe house, the door ajar, furniture overturned, papers scattered, his recorder captured his shock. March 21st, 2025, 10:47 p.m. The safe house ransacked. They've been here looking for the USB, the files, nothing's safe. The silence was heavy, biosynthesis shadow a tangible threat, Hiroshi's fight deepening into a personal vendetta against the Silent Cure's legacy. Hiroshi Tanaka stood in the doorway of the ransacked São Paulo safe house, the scattered papers and overturned furniture a stark violation of their refuge, the humid night air of March 21st, 2025, pressing in through the open window. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the weight of his pursuit. The 1945 Unit 731 experiments in Tokyo, the 1975 Vancouver outbreak, and now the 2024 São Paulo cases, all tied to the neurotoxin SC-45, revived by Biosynth Corporation. His recorder captured his tense whisper. March 21st, 2025, 10:50 p.m. The safe house, torn apart. Biosynth is hunting us after the USB, the files. They'll kill to keep this silent. The USB from João Silva, the whistleblower, contained coordinates for Biosynth's Amazon lab, a 2025 deployment plan for SC-45 in São Paulo's water supply, and evidence of their modern trials, a chilling echo of Unit 731's horrors. Sophia Almeida, the neurologist who'd joined him, arrived moments later, her dark hair disheveled from their escape, her eyes scanning the wreckage, her voice sharp. They're desperate, Joao's USB. The files we took, they know we've got them cornered. Hiroshi nodded, recording her assessment. Sophia's right, they want the evidence, the coordinates, anything to stop us. But we've got their plans, their lab location. Time to dig deeper. He secured the USB in a hidden pocket, his mind on Mariko, his late wife, whose neurological death mirrored SC-45's symptoms. A personal stake driving him to unravel this conspiracy that stretched from Japan to Canada, now Brazil. They relocated to a new safe house in Pinheiros, a nondescript apartment with reinforced locks. The city's nightlife a distant hum as they reviewed Joao's data. Hiroshi called Dr. Naomi Ishida, the biochemist from Tokyo, via a secure line, her voice steady despite the late hour. I've analyzed SC-45 further. It's a synthetic neurotoxin, binds to brainstem receptors, disrupts motor control, causes hemorrhagic lesions. Paralysis sets in within hours, lesions in 24, death in 48 without an antidote, which Unit 731 never perfected. Biosynthesis enhanced it, faster onset, 12 hours to death. Hiroshi recorded her analysis, his voice tense. March 22, 2025, 1:15 a.m. Naomi confirms SC-45's effects, faster, deadlier. Mariko's death, the São Paulo cases, it's the same toxin. Hiroshi and Sophia return to Hospital Sirio Libanes, meeting Dr. Rafael Costa, the young pathologist who'd shared the 2024 autopsy slides. In a quiet lab, its walls lined with microscopes, the air sterile but heavy. Rafael updated them on the outbreak. 5 more cases since yesterday, 20 total, all critical, from a favela near Morumbi. Water tests show traces of SC-45, likely from biosynthesis trials, seeping into the supply. Hiroshi examined the new slides, the lesions identical to Vancouver 1975, Tokyo 1945, and Mariko's autopsy, his hands trembling as he recorded. The outbreak's growing, biosynthesis testing on the poor like Unit 731 like Fraser. I need to find the source, stop the spread. They visited the Morumbi favela, a maze of tin-roofed shacks, the air thick with the scent of cooking fires, children playing despite the tension. Sophia introduced a survivor's family, Clara Mendez, a widow in her 40s with tired eyes, and her daughter Julia, 14, who'd lost her father to SC-45 in 2024. Clara spoke through tears. Jose worked construction, came home shaking, couldn't walk, died in 2 days. The hospital said it was a virus, but he drank from a new well, Biosynth funded it, said it was clean. Julia added, her voice soft. Papa said the water tasted bitter. He knew something was wrong. Hiroshi recorded their story, his empathy deepening. Clara and Julia, SC-45's victims like Mariko, silenced by greed. This is why I fight. Hiroshi took water samples from the well, sending them to Naomi for analysis, her results confirming SC-45 at lethal levels. The concentrations deliberate, biosynthesis dosing the water, testing exposure, a modern Unit 731 experiment. Hiroshi recorded the confirmation, his mind on history. March 22, 2025, for 32 p.m. biosynthesis poisoning communities. Clara's loss, Jose's death, it's systematic, like the war crimes I swore to expose. He spent hours with Clara, learning Jose's symptoms, paralysis, seizures, death, mirroring Mariko's, a painful revelation that biosynthesis reach might have touched his own life, a suspicion he couldn't shake. They planned to confront biosynthesis CEO, Dr. Carlos Mendez, using Joao's intel to set a meeting, Hiroshi posing as a Japanese researcher interested in collaboration. Detective Ana Pereira, their police ally, arranged surveillance, her team monitoring from a van, Hiroshi wired for sound, his recorder running. The meeting was set at a biosynth satellite office in Atane Bibi, a sleek building with glass walls, the air humming with corporate secrecy. Carlos, a polished man in his 50s with a cold smile, greeted Hiroshi, his voice smooth. Dr. Tanaka, your reputation precedes you. Unit 731 expertise, yes? We're advancing that legacy, a cure for neurological disorders. Hiroshi recorded the encounter, his tone measured. March 22, 2025, 7:03 p.m. Carlos Mendez, Modern Yamada, hiding murder behind science. Hiroshi pressed, citing the favela outbreak, Carlos's smile faltering. Unfortunate side effects. Our trials are controlled for the greater good. SC-45 will revolutionize medicine, control behavior, end wars. Hiroshi countered, his voice firm. You're killing people. Jose Mendez, 20 others, my wife Mariko, maybe more. This isn't medicine, it's genocide. Carlos's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, Anna signaled, her van's headlights flashing, a distraction as Hiroshi slipped a tracker into Carlos's briefcase. Retreating as security closed in, Carlos shouting, "You'll regret this, Tanaka." They regrouped at the safe house, the tracker revealing Carlos's next move. A flight to the Amazon lab, 200 kilometers north, scheduled for dawn. Hiroshi recorded the plan. "Carlos is heading to the lab. We'll follow, raid it, and this." But that night, at a favela community center where Clara organized a vigil for SC-45 victims, Hiroshi drank from a shared water bottle. Its taste bitter, his vision blurring within minutes, his legs buckling. His recorder captured his slurred words. March 22, 2025, 10:47 p.m. Poisoned. Water, SC-45, here at the vigil. "They're here, watching," Clara screamed, helping him to Anna's car, but a black SUV roared up, its door opening, a man in a gray coat reaching for him, biosynth's shadow closing in as Hiroshi fought to stay conscious. Hiroshi Tanaka slumped against the car seat, the bitter taste of SC-45 lingering on his tongue, his vision swimming as Detective Ana Pereira floored the gas. The black SUV from the São Paulo vigil fading into the March 22, 2025 night. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the neurotoxin's grip, paralysis creeping up his legs, his breath shallow. Yet his recorder captured his slurred defiance. March 22, 2025, 10:49 p.m. Poisoned, SC-45 at the vigil. "Anna, get me to help, they're after me." Clara Mendez, the grieving widow from the favela, clung to his arm, her daughter Julia's sobs echoing, while Anna radioed for medical aid, her voice tight. "Hold on, Hiroshi, we're heading to a clinic. Biosynth is trying to silence you." They reached a discreet clinic in Vila Mariana, its dim lights a stark contrast to the chaos, where Dr. Sofia Almeida, the neurologist ally, awaited with an antidote kit, her hands steady despite the urgency. Sofia administered a counteragent, experimental, based on Naomi Ishida's Tokyo analysis. Its sting sharp as it slowed the toxin's advance, Hiroshi's vision clearing after an hour, his legs regaining strength. He recorded the recovery. March 23, 2025, 12:15 a.m. Sofia saved me. Antidote worked, but SC-45's close. Biosynth's CEO, Carlos Mendez, is behind this, heading to the Amazon lab. The near-death experience, mirroring Mariko's final hours, deepened his resolve, her memory a silent motivator against the conspiracy tracing back to Unit 731's 1945 experiments. Hiroshi reviewed João Silva's USB, the whistleblower's data pinpointing Biosynth's Amazon lab, 200 kilometers north of São Paulo, near the Tapajós River, a hidden facility synthesizing SC-45 for the 2025 water supply deployment. Sofia analyzed the USB further, her voice grim. The lab's producing SC-45 in bulk, enhanced for rapid paralysis, lesions in 12 hours, death in 24. They're testing it on favela populations, covering it as a natural outbreak, just like Vancouver 1975 and Tokyo 1945. Hiroshi recorded her findings. The lab's the source, Biosynth's modern Unit 731, and Carlos is the new Dr. Hiroshi Yamada. "We need to raid it." He contacted Detective Ana Pereira, who assembled a small task force. 5 officers, including Officer Lucas Ferreira, a wiry man in his 30s with sharp instincts, to plan the operation. They prepared for the journey, a 4-hour drive into the Amazon rainforest, the humid air and dense canopy a stark shift from São Paulo's urban sprawl. Hiroshi hired a local guide, Tiago Souza, a rugged man in his 40s with deep knowledge of the jungle. His boat a weathered craft docked at the river's edge. Tiago shared a warning. "Biosynth's got guards, armed. Rumors say they've been dumping toxins upstream, sickening villages. My cousin died last year, same symptoms as your cases." Hiroshi recorded his account, his empathy growing. Tiago's loss, like Clara's husband, like Mariko, SC-45's victims are everywhere. This guide's personal stake strengthens us. They loaded supplies, maps, medical kits, Anna's team armed with non-lethal rounds, and set out at dawn, the river's current a steady pulse. The journey was grueling, the Amazon's heat oppressive, the boat navigating narrow channels, Tiago pointing out signs of Biosynth's presence. Cleared trees, security posts, the faint hum of machinery. Hiroshi recorded the approach. March 23, 2025, 10:47 a.m. deep in the Amazon. Tiago's guiding us, Biosynth's lab ahead. The river's poisoned, the air tense. They disembarked near a camouflaged compound, its steel walls hidden by foliage, the air thick with the scent of chemicals. Anna's team scouted, confirming 10 guards, a lab building with ventilation ducts and a dock for supply drops, matching Joao's coordinates. They infiltrated at dusk, scaling a duct with Tiago's help, his agility a testament to his jungle expertise. Inside, Hiroshi found a control room, vats of SC-45, a 2025 deployment schedule for São Paulo's reservoirs, and a ledger. Phase 3 trials, 50 fatalities, São Paulo expansion April 1st, global rollout June 2025. He recorded the evidence, his voice tense. The lab's producing death, 50 dead, thousands at risk, all under Carlos's orders. This is genocide. Sophia photographed the vats, her hands shaking, while Lucas hacked a terminal, downloading data on production rates. 1,000 liters monthly, enough to paralyze a city. As they prepared to extract, an alarm blared, guards rushing in, their shouts echoing, rifles raised. Tiago tackled one, Anna disarmed another, but a shot grazed Hiroshi's leg, the pain sharp as he stumbled, his recorder capturing his grunt. "They've caught us, fighting back." They fled, a chase through the jungle, vines snapping, mud sucking at their boots, the guards' flashlight beams piercing the darkness. Anna fired warning shots, Lucas lobbed a smoke grenade, giving them cover as they reached the boat, Tiago navigating through rapids, the pursuer's boat gaining, its engine roaring. Hiroshi recorded the escape. They're chasing Biosynth's guards, relentless, through the Amazon. Tiago outmaneuvered them, steering into a hidden tributary, the guards losing ground as night fell. The jungle sounds a chaotic symphony. They returned to São Paulo, Hiroshi's leg bandaged, Sophia's face etched with exhaustion. He uploaded the lab data to a secure server, his voice strained. "We've got the evidence. SC-45's production, Carlos's plan, but they nearly killed us." Tiago confirmed his cousin's village reported more deaths, a subplot of local suffering fueling their fight. As they entered a new safe house in Vila Olympia, the door ajar, windows smashed, equipment destroyed, Hiroshi's recorder captured his shock. March 23, 2025, 10:47 p.m. The safe house raided. They found us again looking for the data, the truth. Nothing safe. The silence was heavy, Biosynth's shadow a relentless predator, Hiroshi's battle against the silent cure intensifying. Hiroshi Tanaka stood in the doorway of the raided Vila Olympia safe house in São Paulo. The shattered windows and destroyed equipment, a stark reminder of Biosynth's relentless pursuit on March 23, 2025. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the weight of his leg wound from the Amazon chase, his resolve hardened by the evidence they'd secured. SC-45's production data, a 2025 deployment schedule, and Biosynth's ledger of 50 fatalities. His recorder captured his tense whisper. March 23, 2025, 10:50 p.m. The safe house raided. Biosynth is closing in after the lab data, the truth. We're running out of places to hide. The conspiracy, stretching from Unit 731's 1945 Tokyo experiments to Vancouver 1975, now São Paulo 2024, had claimed lives, like Clara Mendez's husband Jose, and possibly Hiroshi's own wife, Mariko, driving his fight against the silent cure's legacy. Sofia Almeida, his neurologist ally, arrived with Detective Ana Pereira, her dark hair pulled back, her eyes scanning the wreckage, her voice sharp. "They're desperate. Your Amazon raid hit them hard, but they're not stopping. We need to strike back, use the data to catch someone higher up." Hiroshi nodded, recording her resolve. Sophia's right. The ledger named Dr. Mariana Lopez, Biosynth's lead scientist, overseeing SC-45 trials. "We'll set a trap, catch her, get to Carlos Mendez." Ana agreed, her task force depleted but loyal, Officer Lucas Ferreira among them, his wiry frame tense as they planned a sting operation, using the lab data to lure Mariana out. Hiroshi contacted João Silva, the Biosynth whistleblower who'd gone into hiding, via a secure burner phone, his voice shaky. "João, we've got the Amazon lab data. Mariana Lopez, can you get us a meeting? We'll protect you." João hesitated, his fear palpable. "She's dangerous. Reports to Carlos directly, but I can leak that you've got the data. Set a meeting at a Biosynth warehouse in Guarulhos tomorrow night." "I'm risking everything, Hiroshi." Hiroshi recorded the plan. March 24, 2025, 9:15 a.m. Joao's setting the trap. Guarulhos warehouse, Mariana Lopez, tomorrow at 8 p.m. "We'll use the data as bait." Joao's bravery, A subplot of redemption after his escape strengthened their resolve, though his fear hinted at betrayal. They spent the day preparing. Anna's team scouted the warehouse, a sprawling facility with high fences, its perimeter marked by security cameras, the air thick with industrial hum. Sophia rigged surveillance drones, her tech skills honed from years of research, while Hiroshi wore a wire, his recorder running, his leg bandaged but functional. He met Dr. Rafael Costa, the pathologist from Hospital Syrio-Libanese, at a cafe in Liberdade, seeking more on SC45's spread. Rafael shared a new report. 10 more cases in favelas, 30 total, all from contaminated wells biosynth doing. Mariana oversees the dosing, testing SC45's limits for Carlos's global rollout. Hiroshi recorded the report, his mind on history. March 24, 2025, 2:15 p.m. Mariana's the key, 30 victims, Unit 731's legacy in action, killing the vulnerable. The stakeout began at dusk, the warehouse's lights casting long shadows, Anna's team taking positions. Snipers on rooftops, officers in vans, Hiroshi and Sophia in a hidden lookout, the lab data on a USB as bait. At 8:05 p.m., a white sedan arrived, Mariana Lopez stepping out, her sharp features framed by short hair, a tablet under her arm, joined by a man in a gray coat. The same silhouette from Tokyo, Vancouver, São Paulo. Hiroshi recorded the sighting. March 24, 2025, 8:07 p.m. Mariana's here, with the gray-coated man, biosynth enforcer, hunting me since Tokyo. We've got her. Anna signaled, and the team moved, bursting through the warehouse doors, shouting, "Police! Hands up!" Mariana dropped the tablet, reaching for a hidden pistol, but the gray-coated man surrendered, his hands raised, his voice calm. "I'm just a courier. Don't shoot." Officers tackled Mariana, cuffing her as she struggled, her shouts echoing. "You'll never stop the cure." Hiroshi and Sophia entered, securing the tablet, its screen open to a 2025 schedule. Phase 3 SC45 deployment, São Paulo water supply April 1st, then Rio, Tokyo, Vancouver May 1st. Hiroshi recorded the evidence, his pulse quickening. The rollout's global, Mariana's down, but Carlos is still free, planning to poison cities. Anna's team swept the warehouse, finding more, vials of SC45, a map of favela wells, a 2024 email from Carlos. "Silent cure is our legacy. Unit 731 perfected, global control imminent." Hiroshi recorded the hall, his voice grim. "Carlos is the mastermind. SC45's a weapon, not a cure, aimed at control like Yamada's vision." A subplot of betrayal emerged. Sophia revealed a suspicion, her face tense. "I tracked Joao's burner. He called a biosynth number before the meeting, tipped them off. He didn't expect us to move so fast." Hiroshi recorded her confession, his trust shaken. "Joao, our informant, a double agent. We've got Mariana, but this betrayal stings." They left the warehouse, Mariana in custody, the gray-coated man, identified as Victor Lima, a biosynth enforcer, cooperating, but Carlos still free, the network's leader out of reach. Hiroshi drove to a new safe house in Butanta, the tablet secure, planning a raid on the Amazon Lab's main facility. His resolve hardened despite Joao's betrayal. He reflected on Mariko's death, an SC45 victim, possibly from an earlier leak, a personal stake fueling his fight. As he reviewed the tablet, a coded message flashed on the screen, decrypted by a virus. SC45, São Paulo burns April 1st. Hiroshi recorded the warning, his voice tense. March 24, 2025, 11:47 p.m. A message, biosynthesis strike in 1 week here in São Paulo. We're out of time. The stakes rose, the silent cure's shadow a ticking clock, Hiroshi's fight racing against a global threat. Hiroshi Tanaka sat in the Butanta safe house, the coded message from Mariana Lopez's tablet. SC45, São Paulo burns April 1st. Glowing on the screen, its ominous promise chilling the humid São Paulo night of March 24, 2025. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the ache in his leg from the Amazon chase, his resolve steeled by the evidence they'd secured, the SC45 production data, Biosynth's 2025 deployment schedule, and Mariana's arrest. His recorder captured his tense voice. March 24, 2025, 11:50 p.m. The code warns of a strike in 1 week, São Paulo's water supply, then global. Mariana knows more, and Carlos Mendez is still free. The conspiracy, tracing from Unit 731's 1945 Tokyo experiments to Vancouver 1975, now São Paulo 2024, had claimed lives. Clara Mendez's husband Jose, possibly Hiroshi's wife Mariko, driving his fight against the silent cure's deadly legacy. Sofia Almeida, his neurologist ally, paced the room, her dark hair disheveled, her voice sharp. Joao's betrayal slowed us, but Mariana's in custody. Let's break her, find Carlos's plan. Hiroshi nodded, recording her resolve. Sofia's right. Mariana can expose the network, and we've got 7 days to stop São Paulo's fall. He contacted Detective Ana Pereira, who arranged the interrogation at a secure police station in Centro, her task force bolstered by Officer Lucas Ferreira, despite Joao's double cross. Ana led the session, her stern presence commanding. Hiroshi wired for sound, his recorder running, his eyes locked on Mariana Lopez, the sharp-featured biosynth scientist, her wrists cuffed, her expression defiant. Captain Beatriz Souza, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s with a reputation for cracking tough cases, took the lead, her voice unyielding. Mariana, your biosynth operation, SC-45, the favela deaths. What's the plan for April 1st? Mariana's jaw clenched, her silence a wall, but Hiroshi leaned in, his tone calm. We've got the Amazon lab data, the ledger, Joao's USB. You oversaw 50 fatalities. Unit 731's Dr. Hiroshi Yamada would be proud. How many more will die for Carlos's vision? Mariana's resolve cracked, her voice low. Silent cure is our triumph. SC-45 controls minds, paralyzes dissent, a global weapon. April 1st, we spike São Paulo's reservoirs, 100,000 doses, then Rio, Tokyo, Vancouver, May 1st. Buyers pay billions, governments, militias. Carlos is in the Amazon, finalizing the signal, a 12 MHz broadcast to trigger sleeper agents. Hiroshi recorded the confession, his pulse quickening. Mariana admits it, global sabotage, starting here, funded by SC-45's revival. She continued, her voice shaky. Carlos is at the main lab, 250 kilometers north, a fortified compound near the Xingu River. He's obsessed, says Yamada's research was genius. SC-45 perfected, sleepers embedded since 1980. There's a buyer, General Eduardo Silva, ex-Brazilian military, meeting him tomorrow night with cash and a contract. Beatriz pressed for details, and Mariana gave coordinates. A compound hidden in the rainforest. Its biotech exports a cover for the network's hub. Hiroshi uploaded a new memo. March 25, 2025, 1:15 a.m. Mariana's broken. Carlos is in the Xingu lab, Silva's the buyer, strike in 7 days. We move fast. Hiroshi drove to the rainforest with Sofia and Ana. The dense canopy a stark contrast to São Paulo's urban tension, the air sweet with vegetation under the morning sun. He met a journalist, Leandro Oliveira, a wiry man in his 40s with a keen eye for corruption, who'd exposed biosynth's shady deals. Leandro shared a tip. I infiltrated a biosynth gala, heard Carlos bragging about silent cure, a cure to end resistance. Silva's arriving tonight, 8 p.m., with $1 million in cash and a military deal. Hiroshi recorded the lead, his mind on history. Leandro's intel confirms Carlos's endgame, same hubris that killed Unit 731's victims, Mariko. This hits home. My father's war stories of Japanese atrocities fuel me. Leandro agreed to help, his courage a subplot of redemption after past silence. They scouted the Xingu compound, a sprawling facility with steel walls, its rainforest cover hiding a lab, the hum of machinery faint but present. Hiroshi recorded the scene. March 25, 2025, 3:47 p.m. Xingu Lab, Biosynth's heart, Carlos's lair. We'll raid tonight. Sofia rigged a drone with a camera, mapping the layout. 20 guards patrolling, a lab entrance, a radio tower for the 12 MHz signal, matching Mariana's confession. Ana assembled a task force, 15 officers, planning a silent approach, Hiroshi and Sofia as observers, their wires active. The rainforest's beauty masked its danger. The stakes personal as Hiroshi recalled his father's tales of Unit 731 survivors, their suffering a mirror to his own losses. At 7:30 p.m., the team moved, scaling the perimeter, the night air cool, The jungle silent until a guard spotted them, his shout alerting others. Hiroshi recorded the chaos. March 25, 2025, 7:33 p.m. They've seen us. Fight's on. Officers subdued the guards, but an explosion rocked the lab, flames erupting as Carlos's voice boomed over a speaker. You'll burn with my cure, Tanaka. General Silva fled, abandoning a briefcase, but Carlos escaped down a tunnel, his fit 55-year-old frame agile despite the chaos. Hiroshi and Sophia dove for cover, the blast throwing debris, Sophia's arm grazed by shrapnel, her cry echoing as they scrambled out, the task force retreating. Hiroshi recorded the aftermath, coughing through smoke. The lab's gone, Carlos set a trap, escaped with Silva. Sophia's hurt, but we've got the briefcase. Inside, contracts, cash, a 2025 schedule. São Paulo reservoir sabotage at 6 a.m. April 1st, sleeper activation across continents. Leandro photographed it, his face pale. This is war, Carlos isn't done. As they drove back, a coded radio signal crackled on Anna's car scanner, decrypted by a virus. SC-45 Xingu burns, São Paulo next. Hiroshi recorded the warning, his voice grim. March 25, 2025, 10:47 p.m. Another message, same code as the tablet. Carlos is striking Xingu again, then São Paulo. We're out of time. The lab smoldered behind them, the silent cure's shadow a relentless threat. Hiroshi Tanaka gripped the steering wheel of Detective Ana Pereira's car, the coded radio signal. SC-45, Xingu burns, São Paulo next. Crackling through the scanner, its decrypted message a dire warning of Carlos Mendez's next move. It was March 25, 2025, and the Xingu lab smoldered in the distance, the explosion from Carlos's trap still echoing in his ears as he drove back to São Paulo, the night air heavy with the scent of burnt jungle. His recorder captured his grim voice. March 25, 2025, 10:50 p.m. Carlos's message. Xingu was a diversion, São Paulo's the target, April 1st at dawn. We've got 6 days to stop him. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the weight of his journey. The 1945 Unit 731 experiments in Tokyo, the 1975 Vancouver outbreak, and now the 2024 São Paulo cases, all tied to the neurotoxin SC-45, revived by biosynth, a conspiracy that might have claimed his wife, Mariko. Sophia Almeida, her arm bandaged from the shrapnel graze, sat beside him, her voice tense. The reservoir sabotage, 6 a.m., April 1st, from the briefcase. Carlos is activating sleepers globally, starting here. We need his records, his full plan. Hiroshi nodded, recording her resolve. Sophia's right. The Xingu lab was a hub, but Carlos has backups. We've got Mariana Lopez's confession, General Eduardo Silva's abandoned contract, but we need more to stop the network. The briefcase from the Xingu raid contained contracts with Silva, an ex-Brazilian military buyer, a 2025 schedule for sleeper activation, and a map of biosynthesis hubs, Rio, Tokyo, Vancouver, set to trigger after São Paulo. Hiroshi contacted Captain Beatriz Souza, the policewoman leading the task force, her voice tense over the phone. We're interrogating Silva. He's giving up names, buyers, but Carlos is the key. Mariana mentioned a safe house in São Paulo, a fallback for records. I'll send you coordinates. Hiroshi recorded the lead. March 26, 2025, 12:15 a.m. Beatriz has a safe house location. Carlos's records might be there, his full network exposed. They drove to the coordinates, a nondescript house in Lapa, its windows dark, the Xingu glow a haunting memory. Sophia scouted the perimeter, her drone buzzing overhead, confirming no guards, the door ajar. Carlos had fled in haste. Inside, the house was a time capsule, dusty files, a 1980s typewriter, a computer set to a 12 MHz signal, the same frequency as biosynthesis broadcast. Hiroshi found a locked safe, its combination cracked using Carlos's birth year from Mariana's confession, 1970. The safe opened, revealing a trove. Carlos's personal journals, 1980 to 2025, detailing biosynthesis history. Acquiring SC-45 samples from Dr. Hiroshi Yamada in 1980. Testing on Vancouver's homeless in 1975. Embedding sleepers across continents, waiting for signals to act. A 2024 entry read, Silent Cure Reborn. Biosynth funds the future, Yamada's legacy complete. São Paulo falls first, then the world. Hiroshi recorded the journals, his voice urgent. This is it, Carlos's confession, Biosynth's blueprint. Unit 731 Vancouver, all pawns in his game, now a global threat. Sophia found a map marked with sleeper cells. São Paulo reservoirs, Rio slums, Tokyo metro, Vancouver ports. Each tied to a sabotage plan, triggered by a 12 MHz broadcast scheduled for 6 a.m. April 1st. Hiroshi recorded the map. The network's scope, hundreds of agents, decades in waiting, activated in 6 days. We've got to act. He reflected on Mariko's death. Her neurological symptoms matching SC-45, possibly from an earlier leak, a personal stake fueling his fight. Leandro Oliveira, the journalist ally, arrived to document the find, his camera flashing, his voice low. This is bigger than I thought. Carlos is a war criminal, hiding in plain sight. A subplot of betrayal emerged. Leandro revealed a suspicion, his face tense. I tracked Anna's radio logs. Someone's been leaking our moves. Beatrice's team has a mole, feeding Carlos our plans. That's how he escaped Xingu. Hiroshi recorded the accusation, his trust shaken. A mole, explains the safe house raids, the ambushes. But who? He confronted Beatrice, her jaw tightening, but she admitted. It's Officer Lucas Ferreira. He's been on our team, but his bank records show biosynth payments. He's gone, vanished after Xingu. Hiroshi recorded the betrayal, his voice grim. Lucas, our ally, a traitor. We're compromised, but we've got the records. Hiroshi and Sophia planned a final move. Intercept the 12 MHz broadcast at the São Paulo reservoirs, using the journals to identify sleeper agents. Beatrice mobilized her remaining team, purging Lucas's access, her voice resolute. We'll shut down the reservoir operation, arrest the sleepers, then hunt Carlos. They drove to the Guaraparanga reservoir, the city asleep, the water's surface calm except for the hum of pumps, the task force taking positions as 5 a.m. approached. Hiroshi recorded the setup. March 26, 2025, 5:15 a.m. reservoir stakeout. Biosynth's first strike. We'll stop it here. Carlos's records give us names, faces. As they waited, a shadow moved on a nearby dam. A figure tall, scarred, his face obscured, watching them through binoculars, the same silhouette Hiroshi had seen in Tokyo, Vancouver, the vigil. His recorder captured his whisper. March 26, 2025, 5:47 a.m. He's here, Carlos or his agent watching us. They know we're here. The figure vanished, the hum of biosynth's signal faint but growing. The silent cure's shadow a living threat as dawn broke. The reservoir a battleground for Hiroshi's final stand. Hiroshi Tanaka crouched behind a pump house at the Guaraparanga reservoir. The faint hum of biosynth's 12 MHz signal growing louder. The dawn light casting long shadows across the water on March 26, 2025. The figure he'd spotted on the dam, tall, scarred, possibly Carlos Mendez himself, had vanished, but his presence lingered like a specter from Tokyo 1945, Vancouver 1975, and now São Paulo 2024. Hiroshi's recorder captured his tense whisper. March 26, 2025, 5:50 a.m. He's watching, Carlos or his agent, here at the reservoir. The sabotage starts at 6 a.m. We've got minutes to stop it. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist felt the weight of his pursuit. The Unit 731 experiments that birthed SC-45, the deaths it caused, and its revival by biosynth, a conspiracy that might have taken his wife, Mariko, driving his fight to its climax. Sophia Almeida, her arm still bandaged from the Xingu explosion, crouched beside him, her dark hair tied back, her eyes scanning the reservoir. The sleeper agents, Carlos's journals named 3 here: Paulo Ribeiro, Isabella Costa, and Dmitry Ivanov. They'll plant explosives, spike the water, chaos to destabilize São Paulo. Hiroshi nodded, recording her update. Sophia's got the names, 3 sleepers activated by biosynth's signal. We've got the map, the schedule, but Lucas's betrayal means they know we're here. Captain Beatrice Souza's task force was positioned around the reservoir. Snipers on hills, officers in vans, their radios crackling as they awaited the 6 a.m. strike. The team bolstered despite Officer Lucas Ferreira's defection. Hiroshi reviewed Carlos's journals, secured from the Lapa safe house, their pages detailing biosynth's history. acquiring SC-45 from Dr. Hiroshi Yamada in 1980, testing on Vancouver's homeless, embedding sleepers globally, now activated for sabotage in 2025. The map marked the reservoir as the first strike, with explosives to contaminate the water supply, followed by Rio, Tokyo, and Vancouver. Hiroshi recorded his resolve. This ends here. Unit 731's victims, Mariko, Clara's husband Jose, all tied to Carlos. I'll stop him for them. Leandro Oliveira, the journalist ally, was stationed nearby, camera ready to document the takedown, his presence a reminder of the story's global impact. At 5:58 a.m., movement stirred. 3 figures emerged near the dam, their movements deliberate, each carrying a bag. Beatrice signaled, identifying them via binoculars. Paolo, Isabella, Dimitri, our sleepers armed with explosives. Hiroshi recorded the sighting. They're here, planting bombs, just as the schedule predicted. The task force moved, officers shouting, "Police! Drop the bags!" Paolo, a lean man in his 40s, bolted, but Isabella, a woman in her 30s with a nervous glance, dropped her bag, raising her hands, her voice panicked. "I didn't want this. Carlos forced me. My family's at risk." Dimitri, a stocky Russian in his 50s, drew a pistol, firing wildly, his shots sparking off the pump house as officers returned fire, hitting his shoulder, his scream echoing across the reservoir. Hiroshi and Sophia joined the fray, tackling Paolo as he reached a control panel, his bag heavy with C4, his eyes wild. "Silent cure lives, you can't stop it." Hiroshi disarmed him, cuffing him, his recorder capturing the struggle. Paolo's down, explosives secured, but Dimitri's still fighting. Beatrice's team subdued Dimitri, his blood staining the dam, but Isabella's surrender revealed a subplot. She was a coerced sleeper, her family threatened by Carlos, her voice breaking. "He's broadcasting from a riverboat, off the Teat River, the signal's live now." Hiroshi recorded her confession, his mind racing. Isabella's turned, Carlos is at sea, activating the global network from a boat. Beatrice called for a marine unit, but time was short. The 12 MHz signal hummed louder, sleeper cells worldwide waking as the reservoir strike faltered. Hiroshi spotted a speedboat docked nearby, commandeering it with Sophia, their plan desperate. "We'll chase the boat, stop the signal at the source." Leandro stayed behind, documenting the arrests, his camera flashing as the task force secured the reservoir, the explosives defused, São Paulo safe for now. Hiroshi recorded the pursuit. March 26, 2025, 6:15 a.m. We're on the water. Teat River, Carlos's boat, the signal's origin. "We'll end this." The speedboat roared across the river, the boat, a sleek vessel named Silent Cure, visible near the horizon, its antennas active, the hum deafening. Hiroshi and Sophia boarded, guns drawn, finding Carlos Mendez at the helm. 55 but fierce, his polished demeanor twisted with rage, a radio console broadcasting the signal. "You're too late, Tanaka." Carlos snarled, drawing a pistol, his voice a rasp. "Silent Cure controls the world. SC-45's my triumph, Yamada's dream." Hiroshi tackled him, the gun firing, a bullet grazing his arm. The pain sharp as Sophia smashed the console. The hum silenced, the signal cut mid-broadcast. Carlos fought, his fit frame fueled by desperation. But Sophia cuffed him, his shouts fading as the boat drifted. Hiroshi recorded the capture, his voice strained. "Carlos is down, signal stopped, but Rio, Tokyo, Vancouver, they might still activate." Beatrice radioed, confirming the reservoir was secure, but a gunshot rang out from the shore, Leandro's scream crackling through the radio. March 26, 2025, 7:47 a.m. Shots at the reservoir, Leandro's hit. Hiroshi turned, the boat rocking, Carlos's laughter chilling. "You'll never stop them all, Tanaka." The gunshot echoed, a new threat rising, Hiroshi's victory incomplete as danger loomed on the horizon. Hiroshi Tanaka stood on the deck of Carlos Mendez's riverboat, Silent Cure, the hum of the biosynth 12 MHz signal silenced. The broadcast cut mid-transmission as Sophia Almeida cuffed the 55-year-old ex-biotech CEO, his polished face twisted in defeat. It was March 26, 2025, and the Teat River flowed calmly beneath them, São Paulo's skyline a distant silhouette under the morning sun. But Leandro Oliveira's scream over the radio. Shots at the reservoir, Leandro's hit. Cut through the moment, a gunshot echoing from the shore. a stark reminder that the SC-45 network's reach extended beyond Carlos. Hiroshi's recorder captured his strained voice. March 26, 2025, 7:50 a.m. Carlos is down, signal stopped, but Leandro's been shot. There's more to this conspiracy. At 68, the retired forensic pathologist knew his fight against the silent cure's legacy wasn't over. Sophia, her arm bandaged from the Xingu explosion, secured Carlos, her voice tense. We've got him, but the sleepers, Rio, Tokyo, Vancouver, they might still activate if the signal got through. Hiroshi nodded, recording her concern. Sophia's right, the reservoir's safe, but the global network's a wild card. Leandro needs us. He radioed Captain Beatriz Souza, the task force leader, who confirmed the reservoir situation. Leandro's alive, chest wound, critical but stable. The shooter was a sleeper, Elena Souza, not on our list. We've got her, but there could be more. Hiroshi recorded the update. Leandro's wounded but alive. Elena, a sleeper, means Carlos held back names. We need to dismantle this fully. They escorted Carlos to the São Paulo police station. Beatriz's marine unit towing the boat as evidence. Its radio console a key piece in biosynth's downfall. Carlos remained silent, his cold eyes defiant even in cuffs, but Mariana Lopez, his lead scientist, broke further under interrogation, revealing more sleeper names and safe houses. Rio slums, Tokyo ports, Vancouver docks, each a hub for sabotage. Hiroshi recorded Mariana's confession. Mariana's giving up the network, safe houses, agents, but Elena's attack proves there are gaps. We've got work to do. The reservoir was secured. The sleepers Paulo Ribeiro, Isabella Costa, and Dmitry Ivanov in custody. Isabella's coerced role a tragic echo of Unit 731's victims in 1945. Hiroshi visited Leandro at the hospital, the journalist's chest bandaged, his face pale but his spirit unbroken, his camera still clutched. I got the shots, biosynth's exposed Hiroshi. You did it. Hiroshi recorded the moment, his voice warm. Leandro's a fighter. His evidence will go global, for Unit 731's victims, Vancouver's homeless Mariko. He reflected on Mariko's death. An SC-45 victim, possibly from an earlier leak. A personal closure driving his resolve. Leandro handed over footage of the reservoir takedown, a testament to their fight, his words a vow. I'll publish everything. Carlos's legacy ends in shame. Hiroshi joined a global task force, Interpol, Brazilian police, Japanese authorities, formed to dismantle biosynth's remnants, coordinating with Dr. Kenji Sato in Tokyo and Dr. Emily Harper in Vancouver. Mariana's intel led to raids. Rio's hub shut down, Tokyo's sleeper cell arrested, Vancouver's operation foiled, the 12 MHz signal's partial broadcast mitigated by quick action. Hiroshi recorded the effort. March 27, 2025, 2:15 p.m. Task Force is global, biosynth's collapsing, but Carlos's silence means there's more he's hiding. Clara Mendez, the favela widow, testified about José's death, her presence a symbol of closure, the 2024 São Paulo outbreak avenged, her quiet strength a reminder of the human cost. Back in São Paulo, Hiroshi revisited the Xingu compound's ruins, now a crime scene, its rainforest cover silent, the lab debris a scar of their raid. He met Dr. Rafael Costa, the pathologist, who'd uncovered more on SC-45's origins. Carlos's 1980 acquisition from Drive Hiroshi Yamada, his collaboration with Dr. Alan Fraser in Vancouver, his double game embedding sleepers for decades. Rafael handed him a final journal entry, 2025. If I fall, the cure lives, SC-45, a new mind rises. Hiroshi recorded the warning, his voice tense. Carlos planned a successor. Someone's out there, carrying the torch. That evening, Hiroshi met Sophia, Clara, and Anna for dinner at a riverside restaurant. The T's rhythm a backdrop to their shared victory, Clara's gratitude a balm. You gave José justice, Hiroshi, thank you. He recorded the closure. Clara's words heal. Unit 731's victims, Mariko, their stories end with justice. But as he walked back to his Pinheiro's apartment, the air shifted. A faint hum, like biosynth's signal, vibrated through the street, subtle but chilling. He turned his recorder on and saw a figure in the distance. Tall, younger than Carlos, his face hidden, a scar visible, the SC-45 symbol spray painted on a wall nearby. His voice broke. March 28, 2025, 11:59 p.m. He's here. A new mind, the hum's back, the network's alive. The figure vanished, the hum fading, but Hiroshi's resolve hardened. A pathologist who'd faced the silent cure's shadows and survived, his fight unending, its echo a haunting call to action.